So when I came across the story, it was shocking to me that it was so buried in the Google searches and the YouTube, because everything else is on the surface about Russia and Ukraine and America want to buy weapons and send people off to fight a war that no one even knows what the fuck the war is about. People want to have sex with M&Ms and candy. Like that's making the headlines, but not
You want to know something funny? You want to hear something funny about that M&M thing?
What?
Because somebody exposed this. M&M's came out and did this pandering nonsense right around the time that they are the subject of a suit around child labor violations.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
I mean,
let's pander to that group over there to try to get brownie points.
I don't know who the fuck they even pandering to. It's like the most.
I know who they're pandering to, but that's not the subject of this show nor this segment. But I just thought it was interesting. Like they're trying to do that pandering garbage, but child labor violations. Let's talk about that. Mars M&M.
Only people they're pandering to are these guys who are sexually attracted to M&Ms. These seem to be the people who are.
Hey man, chocolate is orgasmic, man. What are you talking about?
Get that green.
I mean, that's provided they're using real chocolate, but that's neither here nor there. Okay.
That's the big story about the chocolate. But so right now, this crazy story happened in Pennsylvania. I know black people, American black people, are fucking scared shitless of the woods. When people think of the woods, they think of Mike Myers and the Klan. But I mean, a lot of people outside of the United States, like Jamaicans, Caribbean people, like African, a lot of people actually
I'm thinking about deer ticks. Shit.
Yeah, actually, I mean, everyone hates deer ticks. I'm just talking about the Klan and racist white people in the woods. But so this Jamaican immigrant who from Pennsylvania went on a trip with his coworkers and was killed. He was shot 9 times. That his coworkers are not being questioned and not being.
So you got the 50 Cent action, but it's nobody's fault. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, literally no one's fault. He's dead. So I want to pull up this crazy.
Oh, he actually died. So that's not the 50 Cent action.
Yeah, he's gone.
Okay.
So he's gone. So I want to pull up the article about this, which is buried in the headlines. You guys can check this out. So check this crazy story. I haven't seen it. So a man invited by coworker to a Pennsylvania cabin ends up dead. His family says he was lynched.
Oh yeah, they definitely did not invite him because they were cool with him.
Yeah, this is horrible. So the Jamaican immigrant was shot to death at a rural Pennsylvania cabin last month in an incident that his family is describing as a modern day lynching.
I just call it just a lynching, period. That's what I call it.
So the former co-worker, because he's dead now, he's not co-workers anymore, is white, as well as 2 other men and a woman in the home. Spencer didn't know the others. By the way, I wouldn't want to go on this trip if a whole bunch of other people I don't know, fucking know, white people I don't know in the woods. Peter was an outdoorsman from Jamaica. He loved being outside in nature. He should have found nicer people because these people were maniacs. Apparently,
we don't want to say that like white people are like bad people. We're not trying to say that here. But if you just look at the fucking facts of this case, these particular white people or a couple of the white people that were involved, with this whole trip.
Because if you cared about this man, you wouldn't leave all these questions. Anyone, you wouldn't leave questions like this. Why would this?
Because let me tell you something. It's impossible for him to have shot himself 9 times.
So I want to break down what the Pennsylvania State Police were called to the home on Carswell just before 2:30 a.m. on December 12th and found Spencer dead on the front lawn with multiple gunshot wounds. A suspect, 25, and 3 others at home were detained and questioned. Police said in a news release all 4 were released after consultation.
Consultation. What the fuck do you think this is? A consultation? A free consultation for goods and services?
For fucking
They're trying to find out who the fuck killed this man. No.
So after 6 weeks, no one was been charged with a crime. So for some reason they keep focusing on the toxicology report. They always want to sprinkle crack on somebody.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure that the marijuana in his system killed him, not the 9 bullets that turned him into a fucking Afghan.
So the former coworker admitted to being the shooter and was claiming self-defense. The man could not be reached for comment, however, and recently disabled his social media accounts. Police
because he don't want anybody to see that racist manifesto that he wrote when he was 16. And
it gets crazy.
And then another one he wrote when he was 19. You know, he don't want nobody to see that.
Well, in self-defense, will warrant 9 shots to somebody. No one mentions any treated for any
because injury. he was still in danger after he shot him the 7th time.
I mean, if you shot someone 9 times, you should be like your fingers should be bitten off. You should be bloodied. It should be all crazy shit, but no injuries. No one was injured. So I don't know what self-defense was happening.
Well, he was black. His skin was menacing them.
And then the autopsy believes many of the bullets entered Spencer's body from behind. So that's another self-defense. His back was fighting them.
Oh hell yeah, man! Yeah. You know what it was? He was doing that crop dusting with his farts. That's what it was.
So I want to get the voices of the family, because the family is not letting this slide at all. They're like, what the fuck is this?
And this comes on the heels of another story where a young woman ends up dead after meeting a white guy on Bumble, I think it was. And the police were like, nah, we think he's a nice guy. There's no reason to investigate him. And now more of the evidence is coming out. And now we're finding out, yeah, he probably killed her.
Family wants help from the FBI in getting justice for their loved one.
Oh, good luck with FBI.
Spencer is demanding that more be done to find out who shot and killed him in Venango County last month. Erica Stanish reports on what they're looking to see. Erica.
But somebody's claiming self-defense, though, right?
Yeah,
so it should be easy to tell who shot him.
Dark throughout this investigation and have not gotten any answers from police or updates since this shooting happened. Now, family again meeting here at the City County building tonight, and they say that Spencer was shot 9 times in December, and 4 people were detained the night of his death, but say no arrests have been made. They say drugs, alcohol, and firearms were found at the scene where the shooting happened, and the family's attorney says Spencer was dropped off by his fiance at a campsite in Venango County where he went to enjoy the outdoors with a friend, but say others involved in this case have not been identified and they have no further information. And they're now demanding that the FBI
this is the most.
I would also like to see Venango County Medical's examiner to hand over his report to a private examiner, Dr. Cyril Wecht. And they're calling the fact that they've gotten no answers extremely concerning, and they can no longer just sit back and do nothing.
We're extremely surprised that nobody was charged. We're extremely disappointed that thus far, law enforcement, the district attorney's office, as well as the state police, have not made any substantive comments to the family as to what is really happening in this investigation.
Moving forward, the family says they just want some respect and some transparency. They say,
yeah, you're a few shades too dark to get that respect. Sorry.
Reporting live, Eric.
So I'm gonna share the difference between a white reporter saying that help body language is kind of like, yeah, whatever. I'm gonna go report on a cat in the tree next. And next, I'm gonna report a black woman reporting, and I'm gonna show you the little body language differences reporting a story. Because she kind of just blasé about it, like they found some like the Eminem story or some shit. So here's a black lady reporting the story at the same courthouse, front of the same courthouse, and see how she tells the story.
Well, a press conference wrapped up a short time ago about the death of Peter Spencer. The family's attorney, Paul Jubis, talked about the family's demands, and Peter Spencer's mother had this to say to authorities.
Do your work. I tell him that if I don't get justice from man, then I know my God will certainly plead justice for me.
Yeah, she's very, very West Indian. She's not playing.
Now, officials say Spencer was found shot 9 times on Carl's Road in Rockland Township on December 12th after spending time with a former co-worker and others. The state police's Heritage Affairs team is involved that looks into responding to hate or bias-related crimes. Not the presser. The family's attorney, Paul Jubis, says they are making the following demands. They want the
notice the difference. The other reporter was like, there was drugs.
There's some intensity in that.
It was some guns and drugs. She talks about the guns and the drugs for some reason. That's the reason to kill this person was guns and drugs. That's the first thing you get
that were present at the scene, which makes no mention of whose guns and drugs they actually were. Of course, there had to be a gun at the scene because it's kind of hard to shoot somebody if you just have a handful of bullets and you're throwing it at them.
So you already see the difference between reporting, which is why it's so important that we have Black people doing media. This fundamental right here, fundamental lesson right here.
The FBI, Department of Justice, to get involved in the investigation and provide transparency. The family wants the Venango County District Attorney to refer the case to Pennsylvania Attorney General Josh Shapiro, and they want the Venango County Coroner to turn over all photos and other pertinent information to Dr. Cyril Wecht. Pittsburgh's Action News 4 talked exclusively with forensic pathologist Dr. Wecht about this case 2 weeks ago. He completed his preliminary autopsy. He was waiting for results from the Venango County coroner then and is still waiting as of today. Dr. Wecht says it's important he gets the information because the funeral home put trocars into Spencer's body,
animated,
making it difficult to determine final results when it comes to gunshot wounds.
He had multiple gunshot wounds of his body, including some that entered into his back and toward the backside of his neck. And they just
backside of your neck
sounds like an execution to me.
The characteristics we are looking for to help us determine exactly whether it's entrance or exit, and to get some idea perhaps of the distance from which the shot was fired.
Now, the attorney says the bullet exited the back of Spencer's neck. The family released photos of Spencer's body. We are choosing not to show those pictures.
Oh my gosh, the Emmett Till
is because the attorney is questioning the Venango County coroner about statements on where the bullets entered Spencer's body. Now, this is very important. I personally spoke with the district attorney today. He says he's doing everything he can in this case and that an autopsy report should be released within 3 to 4 weeks. Meanwhile, state police, they're investigating. And if you remember, 4 people were detained and they're released and no charges have been filed. Reporting live downtown, Pittsburgh, Chandy Chapman, Pittsburgh's Action News 4.
So here's some of the things that stands out to me.
So the reporting was much night and day reporting right there. So
here's what stands out to me. They made mention in the article, I think also the other journalist that was on the scene, that there was guns and drugs, right? Why mention it if there were going to be, remember, they were released with no charges. So we're not even talking about drug possession. We're not talking about any of it. And we know that if the cops show up somewhere near drugs there in full view, nobody cops to it being there, everybody's going to face charges for them.
I'm going to show you the dog whistle because the article is even worse. The article actually is it's not less about the autopsy, about the bullets. It's more about the toxicology report. This is what it says. Did not return multiple requests. The investigators are still waiting on the results of the toxicology report. This is what they said.
Yeah.
That's what they're waiting for. Not about the bullets or the other people. Who are the other people who killed who allegedly were there. That's what they wait. That's what they think people want to hear is this. So
and let's be real. Let's be real about it. I mean,
it's like a Dave Chappelle joke. It's like a Dave Chappelle joke. It's crazy.
You're Black, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So let me ask you this question, right? Would you go someplace with a bunch of unfamiliar people that don't look like you and then do drugs with those people there without anybody that you know and trust being there?
No. In Pennsylvania? No.
Anywhere. Right? How many times, growing up, you heard about parents, the cool parents, right? They say, well, I don't want my kid out there doing such and such out there. I'd rather them do it at home where I know they're safe. Right? This is something that I've heard from people that take part in certain things that I've heard all my life. They don't put certain substances into their body around people that they don't know and trust. right?
Yeah, but weed is not. If something else is going on, weed is not going to make people homicidal and kill people. There's something else was happening there. That night.
I mean, and the thing is, even if it was homicidal, he's not the one with the gun. What the fuck are you going to do, right? Yeah. Another thing that stood out to me is that they didn't use photos that tried to make him look like the perpetrator. It was one of the few times we've seen a black man die at the hands of presumably a white person and or white people. And they didn't try to conjure up or Photoshop photos of, him throwing up gang signs or what have you. They didn't,
because the family has the most dark card. They have his photo of his body, so they know that. So that's probably why we're going to show the nicest photos, because the family can just release those dead body photos, and that would trump any fucking gangster photo. Is his fucking dead body, Emmett Till. That's what happened with Emmett Till, right? It was his face smushed up, like that's what.
Yeah, they caved his whole skull in. His skull, his face was caved in.
Yeah, and
they had an open casket funeral.
Yeah. So it's
still
crazy.
Can't get the government to.
So we have the situation here when this is crazy how waiting for the drug test to come out for a dead body. That's what we're waiting for. Meanwhile, the three other people he doesn't know are not being questioned. They're just let loose out there. Who, the person who invited him there is able to cover his tracks, delete his social media account. So for some reason, it's just like, I mean, if you delete your social media account or any situation, this is suspicious. I mean,
hell yeah! Because the thing is, it's funny. Every time we see somebody engaging in some sort of social or political crime, or socially or politically motivated crime, I should say, the first thing that always comes to my mind is, why would you leave up your social media? They're just going to connect all the dots there. And now you're starting to see people who are deleting that kind of material so that it'll be harder for an investigation. And then I got to think, well, do they have something in the servers on the back end where there is, maybe a copy of, because they say anything you put on the internet is forever, right?
Yeah, but that's if the sheriff department even fucking cares enough to do that. There probably is.
I don't think they do.
That's the thing, yeah. So,
but the thing is, when it goes into the press, they have no choice at that point, because the thing is, you can't keep telling us that white supremacy and structural racism isn't a thing, and then not investigate these deaths. It was a homicide. It's a clear homicide. He did not die from being buzzed for some fucking, purple haze. That's not what killed him, and we know that, because there are at least 9 holes in his body to show otherwise. So, if there's a homicide here that's not being investigated or investigated to the best of their ability, now they've got a presumably white attorney standing in, being the mouthpiece for this West Indian family, which, most of white America is just going to see as black, right?
Yeah.
Now we're holding it up. We're holding this up to your face. And again, this is a trial. This is an indictment on society, really, because every single time you see one of these cases, America is going to have to keep proving until the system changes that the system is not racially biased. You're going to have to, the system is on trial every single time. And just like the case that I mentioned about the young black woman whose life was snuffed out, and the white guy, he was nice, so there's no reason to investigate.
She's dead. She's dead.
She's dead.
I mean, yeah. So what's nice about that? There's nothing nice about that.
Right. And whether or not, and the thing is, it might be true that he did not cause her death. It's totally, but the fact that you won't even investigate.
Yeah.
Again, the system is constantly going to be on trial until you change the system, because we have no reason to trust that you are going to treat all men and women equally under the law. Because if you go back in time, you see that men and women were not treated equally under the law. You look right now, men and women are still not being treated equally. So you're going to have to prove yourself case after case after case. I don't want to hear about George Floyd and how that officer went to jail. You're going to have to prove it over and over and over again.
Because these are not
cops getting away with it, or, nice looking white people getting away with the homicides. Notice I didn't call it murder yet because it hasn't been proven, right? But it is logically proven that from the 9 holes that forcefully was put in this man's body, a homicide occurred. You're gonna have to investigate it.
No one was treated for injuries. No one else was treated for injuries.
Right. And not even that. If they really wanted to hold these people, what would they do if it was a black person? They would hold them on that drug possession to try to amass enough evidence so that they can get them on the murder charge. They want to make sure that they're holding you in custody so that you can't go fleeing to another state. You can't go fleeing to another country. You can't hide behind anything, right? They're going to get you in that drug possession. They said that there were drugs found, but you don't let black people get away with that. Oh, the drugs aren't mine. You don't let black people get away with that. Why is nobody being held on drug possession?
But they literally waiting for his toxicology report. They're waiting for the dead person's report, not the living people. They're waiting for his report. So I want to guys keep an eye on this. This is, like you said in the news report, we got 2 to 3 weeks. We find out the autopsy, to actually release the autopsy to the family's experts, not the government. What the government's going to say, the bullets fell on him, whatever. They're going to say some nonsense.
And you know what that's going to do? Because if we're sitting here waiting for a toxicology report for somebody who was shot 9 times, what is that going to do? It's going to give the co-defendants enough time to try to fashion some bullshit story so that they can walk on this man's homicide.
So remember his name, Peter Bernardo Spencer. Keep an eye on this story. It's gonna pop up. It's definitely going to pop up because the family has horrifying photos of his body. It's going to come up soon. So keep an eye on it. So that's Black Power Magic Hour on Twitch, Twitter, Discord. You're also live on Facebook. And Dr. Genius, he's talking shit and playing games on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube. And act.tv is live on YouTube with over 62,000 subscribers. So follow that. And that is, unfortunately, politics as usual. Cool.
That really sucks.